All right, what's the last box? The final box in the Odyssey of starting point. 10, 10, 10, 48. All right, we're coming for this last box. Okay, Nmap, Tech SC for running default scripts. This one will run default scripts to enumerate the services we discover. Tech SV for enumerate versions. And 10, 10, 10, 48. Check the other shadow.back. It might be different. Well, I already closed it out. If it is different and we need to guess a password, we'll go back and look at that one. On this one, we do see SSH is open, but I do also see there's this web server open. So let's look at the web server first. That's a more standard HacktheBox machine. I'm not going to jump right to trying to spray port 22 and stuff like I did last time. I'm not going to do that because this is a more standard looking HacktheBox. There's a web server open, so my guess is I'm supposed to gain access through port 80. The only reason I did all that SSH stuff against this port last time is because this is the only port we saw open. But there's a web server open on this one, so I want to look at the web server. So what is this? So we're seeing lorem ipsum here. Lorem ipsum is placeholder text. It's silly placeholder text. Little Shark, thank you for the 2-month resubscription. Welcome back to the All Eyes Red Team, my friend. You're welcome for everything. Thanks so much for being here. Kafu27, thanks so much for the follow. Cthulhu Fatagan to you. Cthulhu Faten, I mean. So we do see a login page. That's interesting. We can inspect, not inspect element. View. I want to view page source. Here we go. So we want to look at the page source to see if there's any references to like WordPress or anything like that. We do see a login page. The rest of this looks pretty bare bones. We can run GoBuster against this. Actually, Ferox Buster. Ferox Buster is a directory brute force tool that's going to automatically try to browse to all of the directories in this word list and tell us what it finds. In this case, it found a server status directory there, but we got a 403 forbidden when accessing it. So not terribly interesting. Let's check out the login. We do see a login page here. We could try ye old admin. Ye old admin. The most secure of all passwords. Wrong username or password. Feels bad, man. Admin password. We can also try all of the credentials we already have against this. I'd rather not do that until I look at the rest of the web page first. What did we find? We found static 301 redirect. What is @/static? Oh, my caps lock is on. Static. Okay, so what we can pull from this is that directory listing is in fact enabled. What is directory listing? It means if I just browse to a directory like static, we can see the other files in this directory. So what is license.txt? This looks interesting. Creative Commons. No software versions or anything like that. We're seeing fonts and images. We also saw a login directory. Note that if we go to the login page, notice that there's a /login page. And then login.php is in there. So since directory listing is enabled, we can look in there. What have we here? This is interesting. You do see this in the real world. You do see this in the real world. What is this? Woo-hoo. Oh, this is exciting. This is real world stuff. I've seen this before in the real world. This is a Vim file. When you have a file open in Vim, When you have a file open in Vim, there is a file that Vim creates a swap file in that directory that keeps track of your progress. It keeps track of your progress while you're in Vim. Very, very interesting. So let me demonstrate it. So let's just vim user.list. Okay. Now, if I make a new tab, notice that in addition to user.list, there is now a .user.list.swap file. And if we cat this out, you can see that the plain text of my file is there. That's what's happening on this page. Does anybody know why this would happen? Why would anybody have a swap file on their web server? Why does this happen? Big brain time. Think about it. Think about web developers. Think about what a web developer is dealing with. It's not edited in production. It's probably not edited in production. The guy's probably not working on it right now. Why is this happening? He's not working on it right now, and yet this swap file still exists. Why? The developer is clearly living up to his name. He's a developer. What has happened here is that the developer was editing a file in Vim and did a git push without closing Vim. This is actually fairly common. This is fairly common. I have seen this in the wild. I have seen it in the wild with swap files existing on the server. They did a git push, if you understand how git works. If you're not a developer, you probably don't understand how git works. That's okay. Don't be alarmed. Git is a version control. Git is software version control software that is version control software that developers use. It keeps track of modifications you make to stuff, and when you make a final modification and push it to production, you do what's called a git push. And what happens is that this git push was executed while Vim was still open. Vim was still open, so accidentally, this swap file got pushed to the Git repository. So it exists in the production server. Very, very interesting. Again, I've seen this in the wild. This is really neat. Really cool stuff. So we can actually probably download this file. Can we click on this and download it? We can. Let us download this file. Very, very interesting. Again, I have seen that particular issue in the wild in real life. Paste one file. So now we can see this login.php.swap. We can cat that out. Okay. So it's a little bit difficult to read. Let's take a look. But here we have the source code of the login.php. I expect we're going to find hard-coded credentials, are we not? Hard-coded credentials. Okay, well, let's try to clean this up a little bit. Let's vim login.php.swap. It's not working like I'd hoped. It's a binary file, so it's not all that readable, unfortunately. I want all these ats to go. I want all these binary symbols to go away. I could probably do that in Vim with some Vim magic. Okay, I can do that in some Vim magic, I think. Vim login.php.swap. %s. Start of the string. /, and then that HTML. Replace it with nothing. That did not do what I had hoped. I must have messed it up. Always ignoring chat. I'm not ignoring chat. You can load the swap file into Vim. Okay, how do I do that then? read the chat. Okay, well, do vim login.php and vim last. Okay, I didn't know that. Hey, look, that didn't work. Big shock. I think I have to change the name, actually. Move. It needs to be .login.php.swap. Vim login.php. Fuck. So, smooth brain chat, vimtacr login. Okay, is that it? Vimtacr. It didn't do anything. That doesn't do anything. So chat is the smooth brain. Okay, that looks a lot better. Okay, I can work with that. I can work with this. Okay, so this is the HTML. We don't give a fuck about this. Are there credentials? Not empty post username, not empty password session.start. Okay. Require config.php. So that sucks because we're not able to get config.php. The passwords are in config.php, it seems. Okay, first of all, Bobby Table's not a thing here. There's no database. There's no database. No SQL query is happening here. But I see it. Oh, this is cool. This is interesting. This is very interesting. Very, very interesting. Sarakon, you're on the right track. I like where your head's at, my friend. What do I see? OSWEs. Do we have any OSWEs in chat right now? I know this is Newbie Tuesday. This is Newbie Tuesday. V2zan. Bam. Type juggling. What is this? What are these black magics? These eldritch arts that I am... oh, man. This is actually cool, man. Type juggling. I'm seeing this. What is that? This is bad. This bad. So in PHP, there are two kinds of equality comparisons. There are two kinds of equality comparisons. There is a loose comparison and a strict comparison. Let's take a look at it. Oh, this is so neat. Loose comparison is equals, and a strict comparison is equals. If for every sensitive operation, such as password checks, you should be using this. You should be using this because PHP was made by the elder things, and they made an incomprehensible language that does a lot of really strange shit. In the interest of being user friendly, PHP does a lot of really fucking weird shit. So, one of the weird things it does is if you compare two objects, which is what's happening here, we're doing a string compare function on the password that we enter, on the password in the config file, in the config.php, with the password that is sent in the post request to this file, to login.php. And if the string compare returns 0, or if the string compare returns a value that PHP evaluates as being equivalent to 0, you will be logged in. You will be logged in. Now, what if, pray tell, so the way string compare works, by the way, the way string compare works is it compares It compares two strings, and if they are equal, it will return 0. If they're equal, it will return 0. If they're not equal, it will return 1. Okay? But in this case, the developer has used a loose comparison. So if a loose comparison can actually, because of PHP, fucking PHP wizardry or whatever, PHP, if PHP tries to compare two objects that are of different types, like, I don't know, say an integer, say one of them is an integer and one of them is a string, it will do, and you use this, it will try to compare two objects of different types. And it will try to do some fucking cosmic elder wisdom logic to determine if the two objects it's comparing are equal or not. If you do a strict comparison, both the type of the object and the value of the object must be identical. So the strict comparison defeats type juggling. In this case, we can try to do some kind of fucking... we can try to make PHP return a value that is equivalent. We have to make string compare return a value that is equivalent to 0 as far as PHP's eldritch wisdom is concerned. Okay? So let's read up on string compare a little bit. Let's read up on string compare. I suspect we can somehow return a null value, and that will do it. String compare. Here we go. Let's read about string compare. Returns less than 0 if str1 is less than str2. Okay, I was wrong. So it's like I thought this is how string compare worked in PHP. This is also how string compare works in C. It works the same in C. So it returns 0 if they're equal. It returns less than 0 if str1 is less than str2, and greater than 0 if str1 is greater than str2. Ooh. Looky there. Oh. So it appears an array or a new class or a function. Okay. I bet you, chat, I bet you that PHP considers null to be equal to 0 if you use a loose comparison. Let us see if we can get that to do it. So 1 equals 1. 1 equals 1. Okay, I'm not good at PHP here. Okay, so let's see if string 1 is equal to integer 1. Let us see that. It is! Look! Look! This is a string. This is an integer. And yet PHP... I'll make this a little bigger so you can see. And yet PHP thinks that they are equal. Let's see if we put in another equal sign here. All of a sudden it's not. It doesn't return... It returns 0. So these two... So for this one is a loose comparison, and this one is a strict comparison. The strict comparison, in order to return that the values are equal, the types need to be equal, the types of the objects, and the values need to be equal. Does this make sense? I know that we're getting into like PHP-isms here. This is called type confusion or type juggling. So we could try null equals 0. Yes! Okay. The null value, look. The null value is equal to 0 as far as PHP knows. PHP, since we've used a loose comparison, in the background, PHP is trying to figure out if two objects of different types are equal or not. And a lot of this logic is very bizarre, by the way. A lot of the logic that PHP uses, especially in older versions of PHP, a lot of the logic that PHP uses to determine if these two types are equal is very bizarre. Very, very weird. In this case, we're seeing that PHP considers null to be equal to 0 with a loose comparison. If we do a strict comparison, it's going to return 0. Watch. Yeah, it returns 0. So, what we need, if we go back and look at, this is exciting. This is exciting. Newbie Tuesday hitting you with that OSWE, dude. OSWE on Newbie Tuesday. You're getting your money's worth here now. Well, not most of you are freeloaders, but that's okay. That's fine. You're getting your money's worth anyways. Okay, so what we need is for string compare to return a null value. Orbital gun with the 69 Tiggle biddies. Nice. We need string compare to return a null value. And if it does, PHP will evaluate it as equal to 0, and it will think that the login has succeeded. Oh, this is fucking juicy, my boys. This is juicy. Oh, fuck, this is juicy. So it looks like if we feed it an array, it will return null. Look. Observe. If you rely on string compare for safe string comparisons, both parameters must be strings. The result is otherwise extremely unpredictable. So they are telling me right here in the documentation that what has been done here is bad. Right here in the documentation, they're telling us that what has been done here is bad. Does that make sense? You may get an unexpected 0 or return values of null. It looks like if we compare null with an empty string, we'll get 0. We want to return 0 or null. Now, we don't control this. This is some string that we don't know. This is what we control. So, this could be the password, and it looks like we need to feed it either an array or a class. We need to feed it new std class or array. So if we feed it an array, and let's see if I can figure out how to do this. So let us, let's clear this history. Let's head here. Oh, fuck. Login.php. So let's log in, and let's capture the request. So admin, password. Wrong username or password. I'm so concerned. Send to repeater. Excellent. Excellent. Okay, so I think the way you specify an array is you do this. I think that's what you do. We just need to specify an array. Alert, wrong username or password. If we specify an array, do we get something different? We fucking do, my friends. We do get a different response. Oh my god, I am a fucking big brain. That OSWE is finally paying off. Holy shit, dude. Admin. Password. This is the most I've used OSWE for, I think. That's not true. Forward. And we are fucking in, my kids. We are in, my cultists. Beholdeth the slimed halls of Rilya. Okay? Behold. Does everyone, that was a little bit. Listen, my friends. The developer, thank you so much for those 5 Tiggle biddies, by the way. Bible thump indeed. Bear witness, my friends, to the dark arts. The eldritch magics. The type juggling is a more esoteric is a much more esoteric vulnerability than I was expecting to see on the... This is a much more esoteric vulnerability than I was expecting to see on the starting point. But this was real cool. This was real neat. I haven't even seen this on HacktheBox, on HacktheBox's normal machines, honestly. I have not seen a type juggling exploit on HacktheBox's normal machines. Does anyone need me to go through that again? Does anyone need me to go through that again? I understand we were dealing with the eldritch. Those are the eldritch magics, okay? Those are the real dark arts. This is Newbie Tuesday. I was not expecting to deal with a type juggling vulnerability here, or I would have had it forever. I'm just saying I wouldn't have gotten that. The only reason I got it is because I went through OSWE, and OSWE had a type juggling module. So, let us review, okay? In PHP, in the PHP language, which, again, is of the elder things, and does incomprehensible, stuff that is beyond our puny, primitive ape minds, okay? Our puny, primitive, smooth-brained ape minds are not capable of unraveling the esoteric eldritch majesty that is PHP. Okay? So, in PHP, there are two types of equals comparisons. There is a loose comparison, and there is a strict comparison. For all sensitive comparisons where you really care about being accurate with the results, you want to use 3 equal signs rather than 2. Because for the 3 equal signs, you're comparing 2 objects. Like, let's go back into PHP really quick. PHP-A. So let us echo, just like I did before. 1 equals 1. Okay? Integer 1. This is an object of type integer. This is also an object of type integer. So this should return 1. 1 means it is equal. Okay? 1 means it is equal. If we add another equal signs, is it going to be equal or not equal? If we do a strict comparison, is it going to be equal or not equal? It'll say 1 if it's equal, and it won't return anything if it's 0. It returns 0 if it's false. JavaScript is also JavaScript is also vulnerable to type juggling. Oh, you need a Pornhub analogy. Oh, god damn it. I don't know if I can do a Pornhub analogy for this one. Okay, so the strict comparison also works for this. Because these are both, for a strict comparison to succeed, the objects being compared need to be of the same type and the same value. So first it checks to make sure that these are the same type. They are. They're type integer. Okay? And then it checks to see if they're the same value. And they do have the same value. They are 1. Okay? So the strict comparison will return 1 here. The loose comparison also correctly returns 1. No problems. No problems so far. However, comma, if we do this, what type of object is this? What type of object in programming is this? This is not, it is a string. It is a string, which, again, which PHP can tell because it's inside of quotes. Anything inside of quotes is a string. This is a string. This is an integer. Is this comparison going to return true or false? Are these values going to be... Is this comparison going to return that these values are true, or is it going to be false? Chat is correct. This one is going to be false. Why? Because it's a strict comparison, and it will compare the object's types first. It sees that this is a string, and this is an integer, and it returns 0. Okay, but, if we do a loose comparison, and compare a string to an integer, what will it return now? Is it going to be equal, or is it not going to be equal? Correct. It will return 1. It returns 1. Because PHP is doing some fucking high-level elder things, some fucking eldritch logic that is beyond human comprehension. Like, trying to understand it will actually drive you to insanity. These are the real eldritch arts we're dealing with here. Again, there are some really fucking weird comparisons that turn out to be true in PHP with type juggling. But in this case, PHP, using a loose comparison, is seeing that it's comparing two objects of different types, and it's going to do some advanced fucking whatever PHP does in the background to try and figure out if this string is equal to this integer, which it can never know for certain. There's never going to be perfect logic to determine that. Nair Taxos, thank you for the follow. Cthulhu Fountain. Mali C220. Doberan K. Geek Leet. Tootless. Not One Average Joe. Strack Beer Gia. Unfit Diplomat. Net Synaxis. Thank you all for the follow. Cthulhu Fountain. Okay. So, again, what was noted... let's go back and look at the... Just open a new pane. Strings .login.swap php.swap. What's noted here is it's doing a string compare and then comparing it to 0 with a loose comparison. So we need this somehow to produce a value that evaluates to equal 0 with loose comparisons. I didn't immediately know how to do this. I only knew how to do it by going into the PHP documentation, and we have to look into how string compare works. And right here it says, right fucking here, it says if you rely on string compare for safe string comparisons, both parameters must be strings. The result is otherwise extremely unpredictable. So what they're telling you is that you need to use the strict comparison rather than the loose. You need to do the strict comparison rather than the loose. So we scroll down here, and I saw that we could produce a null. We could produce a null value. And I suspected that null would evaluate equal to 0. So we can test that again. I can do that again. Echo null equals 0. That evaluates to 1. That evaluates to true. As far as a loose comparison is concerned, to the language of the elder things, unknowable to our primitive ape minds, a null value is the same as the integer 0. Does that make sense? Is everyone following me? Allomancy with the new cult initiate / welcome to the All Has Red team. Is everyone following? Are there any questions? I don't want to lose anybody. This is Newbie Tuesday. I don't want to lose anybody. So is JavaScript just as weird if it has the same issues, or is PHP uniquely terrible? JavaScript has very similar issues, yes. Because it has, once again, it has the loose and it has the strict comparisons. So the loose comparisons will try to do some kind of type logic in the background. It does different logic from PHP, so some of your results may vary, but it does do similar logic. What is the point of loose comparison? Perhaps if you need to compare things that aren't necessarily always going to be the same type, the same object type, but in general, you probably shouldn't really use it. I don't really know. I'm not a PHP developer. I'm a pen tester. My job is just to tell them that this bad, this good. Okay? That's my job. But I'll tell you what it is. It's developers not knowing the intricacies of the language they're working in. In Python, This is perfectly valid. In Python, there are no issues here. There's no strict or loose comparison in Python. Null will not evaluate as equal to 0 in Python. Nor will the string one evaluate as equal to... No, I'm not saying Python is greater than PHP. I'm just saying that not every language works this way. So this is a case of a developer not understanding PHP properly. Perhaps coming from Python development and trying to do some PHP now and not really understanding how comparisons work differently in PHP. That's all I'm saying. Are there any questions about this? Are there any other questions about this? I know this was a little bit of an esoteric vulnerability, but you'll see that the way we got logged in, let's do the login again. Let's do the login again so I can demonstrate it. So this line in particular was very interesting to me because we can compare, we only control, again, what we're trying to do, this is the line where the vulnerability is triggered, okay? We're trying to, we don't control this string. This string is coming from config.php. We don't know this string, okay? So this string is out of our control. It's some string, we don't know what it is. We control this part. So, I was initially looking at these. This can be some string we don't know, but notice they're comparing a 5 and a 5 here, and this compares to 0. Like we had illustrated with the ones. You see the 15 compares to 15 in hex, compares to F in hex, because those values are equivalent numerically. But the problem is that these don't fit our use case. We're trying to fit a use case where we don't know the string and we can just put some value in here and it returns null. And this one suits our purpose. This one does also, though I'm not sure how you'd write this. We need to feed it an array. This string compare needs to be fed an array instead of a... it needs to be fed an array, and the way you denote an array is with brackets after the name. So let's do it again. Let's do it again. Let's walk through it. Okay, we're going to log in again. Admin, password. It doesn't matter what we put in here. It does not matter. Okay, so here we are. We're looking, we've intercepted the request. Now, we need this parameter to be an array. The way we make it an array is we do this. We add the brackets after the name, and it will make it an array. And then we forward, and like magic, we are logged in. Because we fed this parameter an array, we fed this parameter an array, and as we saw in the documentation, if we feed an array... Okay, let's just copy this in a notepad. And then let's copy the actual line that we care about into Notepad so we can compare these. Okay. So, this is going to be some string. It could be foo, we don't know. Some string. We need this to be an array. If this is an array, it will produce this output, null, plus a warning. But we don't get to see the warning because PHP is not showing errors. But we could produce null. So this whole value ends up being, the comparison ends up being null equals 0. Evaluates to true. Does that make sense? Does that make sense, everybody? We forced this to be a null, when loosely compared with 0 in PHP, produces an outcome of true. And when outcome of true is found here, we get logged in. In fact, I think we could have done this with... No, the password also has to be 0. But maybe the username wasn't admin. Maybe if the username's not admin, we can have it return an array for that too. Just out of curiosity. Because the same comparison is happening there. Okay, let's do Cthulhu, Fountain. Okay, let's put an array here. And we also have to put an array here. And see if that logs us in. Did we break it? Nope, it did not. It logged us in. It logged us in. As I figured it would. Cool. Pretty great, right? You said you learned that from OSWE, so it's worth it is what I'm hearing? Yeah. I did learn that from OSWE. I did not know about type juggling. I did not... I mean, I was vaguely aware of type juggling, but I didn't understand it until I took OSWE. OSWE is what had a module on type juggling. So if you'd like to know more about type juggling, OSWE could be a good resource for you. Fucking cool. It is fucking cool, man. You got to see some cool fucking shit today. What's that header intercept tool? This is Burp. This is Burp. It's a proxy where it intercepts our web requests and lets us modify them. So select file to upload. We can probably just try and upload a PHP shell here. Do we already have a Cthulhu.php here? I feel like I've already done this in starting point. I have. Right here. What's in this Cthulhu.php? Okay. This is a very simple web shell. Very, very simple. It's just going to echo Cthulhu Fatagan to the Cthulhu Fountain to indicate that there's code execution. And then we can feed it a CMD parameter in the request to get code execution because it'll get piped into system. So let's try and upload that and see if there's any kind of file upload filtering going on. Starting point. Cthulhu.php. Upload. Your file was uploaded. I like to see that. So where is it located? Is there an uploads directory? No. Did Ferox Buster find anything? We need to find where it was uploaded to. Nope. So where was it uploaded to? Can we see upload.php? Uploads. I want to see upload. I can't probably read upload.th/static. Those are for static assets. It's called /static because of static assets. Yeah, these are all the static assets, the images and the background and so on. Huh. So what we need to find there has to be another directory here, which is like uploads or uploaded or uploaded maybe? No. Let's see. Maybe we could try another word list. Let's try a different word list perhaps. Why does it not? I guess we'll try that. It's not, for some reason, it's not auto-completing. Let's see if it finds anything new. Okay, .htaccess is new. Let's see if we can, let's see if, okay, nothing about uploads. We can check the .htaccess while it's doing its thing. Don't have permission. Static, login. Ferox defaults to Raft, so if I just take this away, perhaps it'll find something. The directory brute forcer you use is only as strong as the word list. So it's possible there's there's got to be a directory where the uploads are, unless it's just being in the root directory, in which case I'm gonna feel pretty fucking silly. Cthulhu.php. Nope, it's not there. There's got to be a folder where the uploads are located. Unless it's lying to me about it being uploaded, which would be strange. By the way, this output, I'm just in love with this output. Oh! Uploaded. Underscore uploaded. That looks good. There we go. And we do see that some other individuals have been here as well. Let's go ahead and let's load up Cthulhu.php. We do get a page that just says Cthulhu Fountain. That indicates that our shell is executing appropriately because we're not seeing the PHP code. We're only seeing the thing we echoed to the screen. So we can send this to repeater. We can change request method to post. And we could put cmd equals ID. And as you can see, we have code execution. Excellent. So let's do a bash one-liner to get a reverse shell. 10.10.14.43. We can go into our hack we can go into our hack tools browser extension. Copy that out. Go back into burp. Paste this in. We can URL encode this with Control U. Now we need to set up a listener. Listening. Send. And I'm in. What's the difference between get and post? Get, as the name indicates, is typically used for retrieving information from the web server. It gets it's getting HTML pages to display to you, for example. Post is used to push information to the web server. So for post requests, you would typically send, like the login was a post request because you're sending your username and password to the web server, which then processes it and does some stuff with it. The reason I like to do this in a post request instead of a get request is that there are fewer bad characters and no length requirements. Get requests can only be a certain length. The URL can only be so long. And there are fewer bad characters. There do tend to be more bad characters in a URL than there is down here in this post request. It's just a little bit more consistent is all. Unnamed comment, 0x root x, cipher, MWP308, 70MMY boy. I think it's supposed to be mommy boy or something, but I'm not sure. Thank you all for the follow. Cthulhu Fountain to all of you. How come most reverse shells don't use multi-threading or backgrounding to prevent interrupting web pages? Because most of the time it doesn't matter. The web page being interrupted, other users can still access this web page. Other users can still access this web page. Nothing is stopping other users from accessing this web page. See? I can access it again right here. It's nothing stopping it. There's just no reason. So we can go which Python 3. Python 3-C. Import pty, pty.spawn. Bin bash. So as As is usual with these kinds of reverse shells, we're in kind of a jerry-rigged, shitty reverse shell here. We're going to use Python to spawn a more stable shell for us. We can also Control-Z, STTY raw minus echo, and then foreground the shell again. We can export term into xterm. That will allow us to clear the screen if we want. And we can also, if we want to use Vim, for example, we can go STTY-A in one of our Kali terminals. And we see we have 23 rows and 99 columns in our terminal here. So we can hard code that to our TTY here. And I've already forgotten what the numbers were. STTY rows 23, columns 99. Okay, so now if we use Vim, it'll work properly. Okay, so the first thing I want is that password. We know that there was a password in config.php. Was there not? cd login cat config.php. Username equals admin, and password is this is a good password. Yes. So this is the I declare bankruptcy of passwords. You can't just say it's a good password and expect anything to happen. I declare bankruptcy! This is a good password. What users are there on this machine? Cat, Etsy, PastaBD, grep, sh. So there's root, sh, and John. We can try to sue John. This is a good password. And we get in as John. Excellent. So John has reused his password. We once again see the perils of password reuse. And I know many of you, big brains that you are. Yes, indeed. This will indeed make a fine addition to my collection. Quite a few fine additions today. I know many of you are like, Mr. Streamer, so many people reusing their passwords. This can't possibly be real. My friend, I just told you a story of a real-life pen test where everybody was fucking reusing their passwords for everything. My man, this is so common, it makes me want to throw up. The most prevalent security issue facing cybersecurity, it's not Eternal Blue, it's not Bluekeep, it's not the Exchange, the Microsoft Exchange vulnerability. It's none of that. The most prevalent and dangerous thing affecting cybersecurity in 2021 is password reuse. Guaranteed every time. Password reuse is the most common security vulnerability that exists. Users being apes. Users gonna use, okay? Is there a user flag on here? Speaking of users, cat user.text. So we do get a user flag here. Excellent. Cthulhu rejoices yet again. God, that was a juicy user. I am stoked that we got to see type confusion. I haven't even seen type confusion on a regular HacktheBox machine, let alone starting track. God, you guys saw the look on my face. You guys saw the look on my face when I was just looking at this. I was expecting to find hard-coded credentials somewhere. But then I saw this and I was like, oh baby, it's fucking type confusion. Oh baby, it's type confusion. I'm so that was hype. That was fucking hype. If you look, ACB Ghost, if you didn't get a little horny, if you weren't a little bit like sexually excited by that type confusion vulnerability, you should have like I don't even know, you're probably just asexual, okay? You're probably, and that's okay. That's okay. But I was full mast the whole time. I was actually holding up the desk with the force of my erection. The desk had 3 legs in that moment. Okay? All right, so we're going to do sudo tac l. We do know his password. What are you going to do next when the starting point boxes are done? Next week, we're going to do an OSCP like box. A box specifically chosen because it's similar to OSCP. We do see we can run the find command, so this is real fucking easy. We can go back to GTFO bins, which you've already used today. File has attack exec option, I believe. Find has attack exec option. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, attack exec option. Sudo find. If the binary is allowed to run as super user by sudo, it does not drop the elevated privileges and may be used to access the file system, escalate or maintain privileged access. So we can just do this. We got there, boys.